Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at some pretty terrific splice in the Open Master League, and that is level 50 Greninja. These battles were submitted to channel by a fellow content creator, Pogo Doms, so many thanks for the battle submission. Greninja, of course, is a water and dark type Pokemon with the moveset of Water Shuriken, Night Slash, and Hydro Cannon. At level 50, it only gets to 3001 CP, so it is definitely an extreme splice pick, but Doms, against all odds, is able to get some wins. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's check out level 50 Greninja in action. Hopping into the first match, leading Lugia into Dialga. This matchup is fairly even. Opponent is going to save switch into a Mewtwo, and they're going to regret that decision as in comes level 50 Greninja. Greninja takes massive damage from the Shadow Ball. Greninja, even in the Ultra League and the Great League, is not tanky, so in the Master League, this thing is going to be extremely frail, but look out, Greninja gets the boost. Greninja is going to be shielding up as Mewtwo fires off another Shadow Ball. Greninja going for the Night Slash. This, of course, boosted, will easily KO the Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to let that through. Opponent is going to send in the Dialga, and now Greninja is going to start spamming out these boosted Night Slashes. Night Slash is going to connect. Greninja gets a second boost. This is now a 4 times attack boosted Night Slash, nearly picking up the knockout onto Dialga. In comes Lugia. In the back, the opponent has Landorus, and Landorus will need double Stone Edge if it wants to knock out the Lugia. Lugia goes for the Sky Attack, grabbing the shield from the Landorus. Landorus continues to farm. Unfortunately, stuck in the middle of a Dragon Tail, so not able to get the catch. The Stone Edge is going to connect. Lugia farming up, trying to get to the Sky Attack. Unfortunately, just not able to get there. Lugia will expend the final shield, just trying to get rid of the final shield from the Landorus. And then, things are looking pretty good. The Sky Attack will be shielded, continuing to farm up. Opponent forced to fire off energy, but the opponent is now rapidly approaching Sandsear Storm range. The Stone Edge will pick up the knockout. Opponent sends in Dialga. Dialga unable to make it to the Draco Meteor. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, and we see a very familiar matchup, Lugia into Landorus. Landorus, of course, has a massive pacing advantage, able to make it to the Stone Edge, but Lugia will survive this damage no problem. Opponent is going to save switch into Dialga, and the opponent has made a very interesting decision here. The opponent is running Best Buddy Boost active on the Landorus instead of the Dialga. If their Dialga at level 50 gets into a mirror match with a level 51 Dialga, they'll get completely destroyed. So they're basically sacrificing the Dialga mirror in exchange for winning the Landorus mirror. Ironhead will be shielded. Landorus is going to get a massive farm down. The opponent can send in their own Landorus. They're up a shield, but they are massively behind in terms of energy. Instead, they're sending in Rayquaza. Landorus going for the Sandsear Storm bait. The Sandsear Storm bait does get shielded. That is a massive call. Landorus doubling down, going for another Sandsear Storm bait. The opponent calls it. Landorus is going to switch. Opponent is going to send in their own Landorus as Lugia. No baits here. Baited a couple times already, but this time going for the Aeroblast. The Aeroblast connects, and down goes Landorus. Back in comes Rayquaza. Rayquaza able to get the debuff from the Breaking Swipe, but Rayquaza is taking a lot of damage. Wanting to reduce that damage, going to pick up the knockout onto the Lugia. There is still the full health Greninja available in the back. Sending in the Landorus. This is only going to be the Sandsear Storm, so the opponent is going to no shield. But now, this sets up Greninja. Greninja is going to be able to secure a knockout with a Night Slash as Breaking Swipe connects. That does so much damage. This level 50 Greninja cannot take a hit to save its life. Night Slash will be shielded. No boost this time from the Greninja, but it will be able to secure the final knockout blow and take the win versus Rayquaza. Hopping into the next match, leading Lugia into Zekrom. Honestly, this is a pretty annoying matchup on both sides here. As the Lugia, you're able to hit for massive super effective damage with Dragon Tail, but you really have to be mindful of the Fusion Bolt, because Fusion Bolt will do quite a lot of damage. Fusion Bolt is going to grab a shield. The Lugia is farming up, but unfortunately has to go for an Aeroblast to pick up a knockout here. A Sky Attack will not KO. The opponent calls the bait, saves the Zekrom for later, sends in their Landorus. Landorus will be met with the Sky Attack. Sky Attack by no means threatens a knockout, but Landorus is very glassy, so we will see the shield. Landorus over farming, They can go for the Stone Edge, but the Lugia is still healthy enough that a Stone Edge will not knock out. Lugia able to withstand the damage. Landorus is going to fire off the Sandsear Storm. This is double resisted damage, but the Lugia should be low enough that the Sandsear Storm is able to pick up the knockout. In comes Greninja. Greninja farming up, trying to go for the Hydro Cannon. It looks like the opponent may have unfortunately had a little bit of lag there. It turns it into a CMP tile. We're going to see Greninja go for an undercharge on the Hydro Cannon and look for the farm down. The undercharge. Oh my goodness, the Landorus 1 actual HP there. You can't even see the health on its health bar. And now, in the back is Groudon. Despite the fact that it's 1 Landorus versus 3 remaining Pokemon for the opponent, this actually feels like it might be winnable, but it's going to require a Herculean effort from the Landorus. Landorus is going to no-shield the Fire Punch. Fire Punch, of course, not doing a massive amount of damage, and future ones will be doing less. But the issue is these Fire Punches, even though they don't do a lot of damage, will add up over time. Landorus, not known for being a particularly bulky Pokemon. Landorus continuing to farm up energy. Opponent firing off another Fire Punch. This will be getting the Landorus into the red, so Landorus is going to commit the shield. Landorus looking for the farm down. Opponent tries to go for a catch onto their own Landorus. This Landorus has so much loaded energy, and the opponent is in a really tough spot. In comes the Groudon. Groudon will go for the Fire Punch, but it will not be enough to knock out. They still have the Zekrom in the back, and the Zekrom, it all comes down to this. Did the Zekrom leave with a move? The answer should be no, and they do not have it. The opponent did not have enough energy for the loaded charge attack. Landorus is able to 1v3 in the endgame and take the win. We've got a battle of birds in the next match, Lugia versus Ho-Oh. Lugia going to stay in this matchup, as it does have some very nice bulk and it will be able to tank a Sacred Fire. Opponent is going to farm up for the Sacred Fire, and the thing to watch for here is the potential attack drop. Sacred Fire connects, Lugia does not get debuffed. Opponent is going to save switch into Zacian, banking a massive amount of energy on the Lugia and sending in Landorus. This is a very safe shield for the Landorus, as Landorus will be able to make it to 2 Sandsear Storms before the next play rough is reached. And that means, after 2 debuffs, this next play rough is going to be doing substantially less damage. Landorus able to make it to Sandsear Storm number 2. This will not be enough to knock out, but it will get the opponent deep into the red. The Sandsear Storm is going to connect. Opponent will be firing off the play rough. We should see a no shield here from the Landorus, as this play rough not going to be too threatening. Landorus is going to look for the farm down. Oh, but the Zacian surviving on just a fraction of HP to make it to the wild charge. Opponent sends in Ho-Oh, and we're going to see a bait here with the Sandsear Storm. The Sandsear Storm bait gets the shield. We see the switch into the Lugia. Unfortunately, the Incinerate does go through. The Aeroblast is shielded. If the opponent farms down here, this could get uncomfortable. We're going to see Lugia firing off the Sky Attack. The Sky Attack will connect. Opponent throws energy. They don't try and commit to the farm down. If they committed to the farm down, this was looking very tough, but they don't. And now, in comes Greninja. This is absolutely the last thing this Ho-Oh was expecting to see in the Master League. A level 50 Greninja. Hydro Cannon picks up the KO. In the back, it is Xerneas, farming up a ton of energy here with the Greninja, going for the Hydro Cannon, but losing charge attack priority. The opponent is going to fire off a close combat, and that's a misplay. They could have gone for a Moonblast and not lowered their defense, but now their defense is lowered. The Hydro Cannon does massive damage. Very nice job waiting the turn to make sure that this Hydro Cannon is going to connect onto the Xerneas. All that's left is the 1 HP Zacian, and Greninja takes the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Lugia into Mewtwo. I believe this is one matchup that does actually flip, with the fact that Lugia had its Sky Attack nerfed in previous seasons, whereas I believe Shadow Ball Mewtwo does actually win the 2-shield now. Lugia is going to shield as Mewtwo fires off the Shadow Ball. Opponent is going to save switch into Landorus. Landorus is going to be answered with a Sky Attack from the Lugia. Sky Attack is going to be no shielded. In comes Greninja. Greninja can't quite make it to the Hydro Cannon, as Landorus will fire off the Sandsear Storm. That does so much damage. Oh my goodness, that is a neutral move. That is an Icy Wind clone. Opponent is going to let it go. Down goes the Landorus. They can send back in the Mewtwo, but they would not have a good time. So they send in Dialga, and Dialga is going to get the full farm down. But now Dialga is going to have to deal with Landorus. Landorus will be met with the Iron Head. Iron Head non-lethal, so we will see the no shield here as the opponent did not commit to the Draco. Going for the Sandsear Storm, but the catch by the opponent, taking advantage of the fact that the switch clock is up as they send in the Mewtwo. Farming up, and oh, one good catch deserves another. Able to catch the Psy Strike onto the Lugia, and now we've got ourselves a game. Mewtwo is going to fire off a charge attack. We do see the shield, as it is going to be the Shadow Ball. Lugia able to get the farm down. Opponent has 2 shields and a Dialga, and it's hard to find a scarier sight in the Master League than a Dialga in the 2-0 shield advantage. Opponent calls the Sky Attack bait, but now there is a potential farm down win con here. Firing off the Sky Attack, opponent is going to be no-shielding that as well. They refuse to respect it. They're not using the shields. They go for the Draco Meteor. In comes the Landorus. Landorus is going to be debuffing with the Sandsear Storm and going to try and fast move down here. Mudshot versus the debuff Dragon Breath, and the opponent somehow is going to lose that game. We see a familiar lead in the next match, Lugia into Dialga. Lugia doesn't mind staying in this lead matchup, although the Dialga is going to make it to the Draco before the Aeroblast is reached. Dialga is firing off its energy. We do see the shield from the Lugia anticipating the Draco Meteor, but the opponent is going to go for the bait. That bait is a bit unfortunate, but now it's Lugia's turn to bait, building up past the Aeroblast, going for the Sky Attack, and getting the shield from the opponent. Trying to make it to the Aeroblast, but the opponent will not let that happen. They are going to be firing off the Draco Meteor, and down goes Lugia. In comes Landorus. Landorus can use this as an opportunity to get a nice energy head start and will fire off the Sandsear Storm to prevent taking any charge attack damage. The opponent commits the shield. They're now at -3 attack. 2 stages from the Draco Meteor, 1 stage from the Sandsear. That does not knock out. In comes Zacian, and Zacian is going to be met with the Sandsear Storm. That is, of course, going to come with a guaranteed attack drop, and now it's all up to GRENINJA with a shield, and GRENINJA will have to give up that shield right away as Zacian fires off the Play Rough. GRENINJA farming up so much energy here and going for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon into this Zacian will not pick up the knockout, but the Night Slash after will. So GRENINJA will have a bit of residual energy. The Dialga is extremely low. You can probably go for a Water Shuriken down. It all depends what they have in the back. And it's going to be Ho-Oh. Oh no! The opponent with a beautiful wait and catch there. Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking. The Hydro Cannon will connect, and they wait the turn. Just beautiful mechanics here by the opponent, and they're able to find a win con in a game that looked completely lost for them. Moving into the next match, leading Lugia into yet another Landorus. Opponent save switches into Zacian. Zacian will be answered by his Landorus, but they did not build up 5 Snarls, which means this can only be a Wild Charge or a Close Combat. This means the opponent is running the double nuke moveset, and they're stuck against the Landorus where they can only hit for single resisted. Back-to-back Wild Charges will definitely add up, but now the defense has been lowered by 4 stages, and a Stone Edge is going to cleanly knock out. They can send in the Landorus, but they have no ability to Mudshot down, so they're going to have to go for a Sandsear Storm to pick up the knockout. Landorus will fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge will connect for some pretty solid damage unless they decide to commit the shield, which they do. We see a switch into Lugia. How good was the opponent's reaction time? It is the Sandsear Storm catch, and in the back, it is Dialga. Unfortunately, due to the debuff, Lugia not outputting a lot of damage, committing to the Aeroblast and getting there. This is single resisted and single debuffed. The opponent is going to let that through. Lugia is still very much in a range where the opponent has to go for a Draco Meteor to pick up a knockout. Lugia is going to call it and successfully calls the bait, making it to the Sky Attack, and now the opponent will get knocked out unless they burn the final shield. Oh, they don't! I stand corrected. I thought that Sky Attack would knock out, but they're at -1 attack, so that is not going to be enough. In comes GRENINJA. The Landorus, it has energy. We've seen how much Sandsear Storm does. Sandsear Storm connects. Oh my goodness. The poor Greninja. Greninja looking to farm up to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. The opponent is going to go for Sandsear Storm number 2. This Greninja, its attack now 2 stages debuffed as it fires off the Hydro. The Hydro will be shielded. Greninja going for Hydro Cannon number 2. Let's see this damage. It is double debuffed. The opponent is able to survive that damage, but back in comes the Landorus with energy stored, going for the Sandsear Storm. That picks up the knockout. All that's left is the 1 HP Dialga, and that is a win. Hopping to the final match, leading Lugia into what else would it be but another Landorus. Landorus, I mean, there's not much to say. It's absolutely everywhere, and for good reason. The opponent, however, makes a very big misplay as they fire off their charge attack on alignment, giving Lugia an entire Dragon Tail for free. The Zekrom save switch is going to bring in the Landorus, and the opponent, my guess is they're running a Landorus double dragon team. The Zekrom save switch designed to bait out the opposing Landorus to free up their Dialga to sweep in the back. The Zekrom is going to go for the crunch. We see the shield by the Landorus. Landorus giving up 1 shield in exchange for a Stone Edge's worth of energy. This energy will be able to apply some nice pressure onto the opposing Landorus. The opponent is going to send in Dialga, and to me, this is just a massive, massive misplay by the opponent, as you don't want to be taking this damage on the Dialga and taking the debuffs as well, as the opponent is going to have to give up both shields. They're going to exit with energy, but the energy is 2 stages debuffed, whereas they could have set up Dialga in a shield advantage situation as a sweeper. Now it's down shields, it's throwing energy that's double debuffed. They're just in a really tough spot. They're running Thunder. It doesn't KO because, again, this is double debuffed energy. This Aeroblast is going to connect. We see a switch into Greninja, and in comes the Landorus, but Landorus, no energy to speak of here. They get hit with the Hydro Cannon. That's going to be goodbye to the Landorus, and a sight I never thought I'd see in the Master League, a Dialga conceding the match to a level 50 Greninja. All in all, it goes without saying, level 50 Greninja, definitely a spice Pokemon. Definitely not a Pokemon that is recommended for climbing in the Open Master League, just due to the fact that there's just such a massive difference in terms of the stat product between the level 50 Greninja and other Master League Pokemon. However, it's very cool to see someone decide to take on the challenge of getting some wins with Spice, and seeing a Pokemon like Greninja get some wins against Legendaries. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.